about because I got super giddy about this book, right? This
We
was
both did, yes.
completely blew my mind. This book in particular is called Big Magic. It's by Elizabeth Gilbert. Is this backwards now to everybody? But you get the idea.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. So, Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. We are really just trying to figure out, how to take action, right? And this came around at a time where I was feeling a little stuck. My little one had just gone off to kindergarten. And so I was kind of this like new year, new mama type of thing. I didn't really know exactly what to do with all this extra time I was given. I juggle a lot of hats already. I'm a health coach. I am a Plexus Senior Gold Ambassador. I, have a husband. I've got a dog. I've got kids, and so it's all over the place. And so I just wanted to um, rediscover something, and this awoke it in me for sure. I listened to the audio 3 times within like a 2-week period. In fact, the one day I painted my son's whole room while listening to this book. It was that much of a moment. And yeah, and I shared this with Katie. Hey,
Yeah, and coincidentally, like I had read the same book while I listened to the audio 3 times as well, and I kept bookmarking it and going crazy because it's so easy to connect with the entire, it's not even a story, but the message that you're getting from Elizabeth Gilbert, who we all remember from Eat, Pray, Love, and that was more of her story, a bit of her memoir, but at least this now gives the insight creatively, like as someone who loves to express herself, how you push past the doubt and the fear.
yes, absolutely. And that's, where this first part comes into about that courage. So this is we're really going to just discuss the single chapters and stuff for the week because there's so many good messages about how to take action, how to really just roll with, where you're at in life, that it doesn't have to be perfect, that all things come together when you can tap into your gifts and you tap into what actually fuels you and makes you feel alive and all that good stuff. So as coaches, we thought this was a really neat thing to bring together. We love talking to each other. Coaches need coaches too. And so
Yes.
we want you guys to be interactive also. And if you're excited, let us know. If you want us to feel that you're there, show us some emojis, all that good stuff, so that we know where your excitement lies too. So then we can kind of help foster what you're looking for, because this is just as much for us as it is for you. We love exploring this, and this is actually really funny. I'm starting a book club because I don't even think it was probably 6 months ago when I called myself a non-reader. Yeah,
Yes.
at
And I
the
used to
beginning.
always push you. I said, man, audiobooks are it when you feel too busy, don't have time. Download them, listen to them in your car, listen to them while you're cleaning, whatever you can. It's nice to have somebody read you a story. But not only that, you're feeding your brain.
Yes.
So it's such a good experience. So I remember I tossed that at you, and now you've transitioned majorly too into jumping back into the hard copy. You even bought the hard copy of Big Magic after listening to it over and over again.
I did. And y'all, okay, you have to see first chapter. Like, I literally like, oh, it's so blurry. I mean, that's exactly what I bought it so that I could highlight it up because this really spoke to me that much. So, yeah, is there anything you want to get into before we get started? You want to?
Yeah, so first and foremost, I want to know who here already has their book, like who started listening. It'll be great for you to comment if you already got started. If you haven't, it's totally okay. You could easily, like I said, either take it off your bookshelf because we know a lot of people bought it, but they never read it. So this gives you a great opportunity to jump into it. And if you need to, you could just download it and listen to it. It's so easy to get through. We're going to dive into the first section of it, and if not, like you could just backtrack it. You could jump. That's the glory of this virtual book club. You could jump in whenever you like. So you can meet us every Monday, or you could just jump in later on if you miss a few scheduled sessions and invite your friends. Anyone could join at any time because the purpose here is for you to enjoy the reading, but this is your space to share your perspective. We want to know what you're thinking, what you feel, and if it really resonated with you like it did with us. So we're going to just jump in right into section one. And section one is all about courage, courage and facing your fear. So if you already started reading the book, the message that's being delivered here is using your talent. You know, we all are born with a gift, and some of us may be very modest about what they are, but it's something that we need to use. So that tug that you get all the time, that is what's influencing us to make choices. But a lot of times we push it aside because we compare it to the greatness of others. We think we're not good enough. We think we're not as trained. We complicate it. So Elizabeth Gilbert really talks about that in that first chapter where she is influenced by another man who used to be a teacher at a university that she works in, holding the same position in the same office, coincidentally. And his name was John Gilbert, even the same last name. And this man
Jack.
inspired her because, oh, Jack Gilbert, correction. But this man, he inspired her because he was a published poet, very famous, and he was known to be talented, pure talent, but he decided not to live life in the fame. He didn't write because he wanted money or fortune or acknowledgement. He wasn't writing for the people. He was writing for himself. These were words and a method for him to really get in touch with who he was. He was just being himself. And by doing that, he was sharing his gift and it was connecting with other people. But even though he connected with other people with his gift, he didn't allow that to let his beliefs waver. He didn't let that change how he expressed himself. So it's so interesting how his way of taking control of his talent, this gift that he was given that really connects with other people, was by moving off into the mountains, by continuously releasing it, but not subjectifying himself to this fame, this limelight, which I think that we could all relate that if we think talent means something that you need to become an entertainer, or you have to make money off of it. But really, what we need to do is step back and dive into the fact that we need to take it as simple as what is my talent and what can I do with it? Like, what do I want to do with it? And I think we could all relate that the message in that first part is really you just have to put it into play. You will never know the greatness of your capacities with your talent, whether it's artistic or it's just simply in your natural abilities of being kind and honest and giving and nurturing. Look at Mother Teresa. But it's just acknowledging what that talent is and putting it into practice.
Definitely. I mean, and I really loved his message overall that it was a quote that he had in there is, do you have the courage? He was speaking to a young writer who was sort of like bashfully proclaiming he wanted to be a writer. And he said, but do you have the courage? Do you have the courage to bring forth work? Because the treasures hidden inside you are hoping you'll say yes. Because it
Yeah.
is expedition, the journey to uncover things. It's not the path great. It's not necessarily simple, but the cool part is this should be a life's work. It should be to
Hmm.
uncover those jewels and figure out what it is that God created us to be. Because the odds that we're even born are so small, so small.
Hmm.
Where, where do we get the right to kind of receive back and not embrace that gift? We have to see our lives precious full, and we're only given a certain amount of time to really up. And so, why waste it? Why just sit, let up, go to work, die? No, a lot more.
So do you guys relate? I think that this is something that everyone could really connect with. You know, you don't have to be creative like we've said, but everyone feels like they're holding something back. It's that sense that we get that there has to be something more out there for us, or we're always looking for something to do, but when we're doing things, empty actions, we're really wishing we were doing something else. You know, it's that wish I would have, I could have done that. I had that idea, but somebody else did it. Like how do we get past that? So I think it's very interesting to see how Jack Gilbert or Elizabeth Gilbert even tried to take back their talent, take back that intention. And where does that stem from? Courage.
Yeah. Well, and it's even like in her title to just call it creative living beyond fear. She doesn't mean that creative as in terms of like arts and craft projects or painting.
Yeah.
This is really about living curiously. I circled this and like put 100% on this one where I said that it's just living a life driven more strongly by curiosity than fear, because fear is really
Mhm.
programming. It's this innate thing. I could get behind the science if you wanted it, because that's real.
Yeah.
But really what it is it's your brain. Your brain is made to protect you. And anything you sort of hesitate on or pause on, it has this biological response to make you just doubt. And doubt is fear. And where can we
Yeah.
actually get ahead of that? How can sometimes that curiosity killed the cat, right? A lot of interesting little points in that about helping that drive you forward, helping that unlock some of these fears so that you're just like, oh, it was just in my head. It was just a biological response.
Mhm.
Even talks later on about how it's just, and so why not be different? Why not embrace who you are and what you're made to be doing, and be different, like face the fears. And I get that that's a really scary thing. And she does get into a little bit more of the how to, which is really where I think I connected to this book, of where I think I faced a lot of fears, yet I still could come up to them and be like, gosh, if I
Mhm.
made any progress at all. So it's a constant, you guys. This is not about perfection. There's another book, which maybe that come on our list at some other time, but it's called Progress, Not Perfection. And that really is like this mantra.
That's a challenge.
Yeah, exactly. It is for a type A. Is anybody else a type A? Oh, I try not to be so hard, but it's
I'm not.
I think that's a lot where where we can mesh, where you find people like Katie and I find
Mhm.
we're able to help each other. Just sometimes you need a friend who shoves a little bit off the cliff. Like you just need to take a jump of faith, whatever you want to call it. But just to really start to dig in and be an explorer, be someone who is excited about the journey, because that is where the
Mhm.
happens. It's about growth. You win or
Yeah.
learn.
And we really are just afraid of failing, and looking foolish. But like we forget that by connecting with other people, the people in our life, if they truly care about us, they're going to support us throughout our creative journey. They're going to completely be infatuated with the fact that we have a love for something and they want to see what you do with that. That's the truth.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. And I kept
I,
feeling um, tugged. When they're talking about trying to dig this stuff out, whether it was Jack Gilbert or Elizabeth Gilbert kind of talking about this, it made me feel like tap into this childlike wonder, where we're sort of carefree, where we didn't have the bills and the stressors and all that stuff, right? Life was really just about like wake up, go play, have fun. Your parents feed you, and not everybody's in that situation. I get that. But for the majority of us who are, living really great lives, that's some of the things that we were able to do. So how can we tap into this carefree, childlike wonder, and embrace this now as an adult? So she talks about it as in her friend Susan, right? Yes, Susan. So Susan, who goes and takes up ice skating again, and actually I relate a lot to this because I used to be a figure skater.
Mhm.
So this is, as a child, I feel like they explore. My oldest was like trying out basketball, and he used to do soccer. My little one loved, like we all kind of find the thing we love, right? And we do a little bit more of it, cheerleading or dance or whatever your thing is. Um, but somewhere along the line, we were told, or we started to adopt this thought that I just won't be good enough to go to the next level, right? Whether you're comparing yourself with somebody else, something about the fear of just like, oh, I'm not that
Mhm.
flexible, or oh, I don't do that the way he does or she does. They have to really play these tapes, if you will, in your head, and that changes the subconscious which is your instincts to react, which is fear. So there's this really neat fear you can think of. If you think of FER, so you can either forget everything and run, or you can face everything.
Yes.
The overall message in this is about courage and bravery
Yes.
to that thought of running because that's our unoriginal instinct. That's what everybody wants to do, is just have this run mentality instead of facing it, because that's easier.
Yes.
So
You know what? I think you find that you're at a pace that you acknowledge that you're scared and that you've been holding back just when you start to think to yourself, how did I get here? You know, what created this? And the reality is you get disconnected from your gift because you haven't committed to it. You need to commit to your gift. And the only reason that you haven't grown in it, you lost touch, was because it's not because you lost the spirit. It's not because you lost the passion. It's because like the temple, like what you house yourself in, like what you houses this talent, your mindset, it's crumbling. It's not strong enough. So if you get this pull that you really want to touch back into your talents, you really want to learn how to express yourself and commit to the gift, then you have to get back in shape. Just like working out, you have to get that talent back in shape. And the only way to do that is to put it into practice, to do it every day, to test it out and put energy into it and throw it out there every day. And some people think, what, I should be offering my talent for free? I should be doing it for pure joy. And they feel guilty. They feel guilty for doing something out of pure joy. And yes, that's exactly what you should be doing, because not everything we do should be done out of profit. It should not be done with $1 million scheme of an idea. It should be done because we have this natural instinct to create. And there's something that they also mention in the book, and it's courage is to take the hunt, and that equals creative living. Like that means that you having the courage to hunt for the ability to make your talent thrive, that is creative living. Is the idea, the creative thought process of how to make it work, how you're going to apply yourself to it. That is creative living.
yeah, and I think I really feel like both of us relate a lot to this chapter in particular, is because that's where I coach. We understand this because we've been through so.
Yes.
Y'all, you could hear our private conversation.
You can, when we post our real talks every so often. So
we do. So it's really neat to help others realize that they don't have to keep making these choices. That choosing to it really is a personal choice. Yes, I get that there feels like there's a brick wall and it is terrifying, and just the how do I even do that? Which, honest to God, is where coaches sort of come in. That's where I relate to, if you're a caregiver, that's why you feel the nudge to want to help people, because maybe you've been through something or you have that compassion or empathy. So it's a way to connect to our community, to our friends, to our family, that we don't just get to fill our cup, which to me is really the most important. You can really only fill someone else's cup when yours is full, and then you spill over.
Yeah.
And so the better, you're saying, the better we can take care of our temple, our body, our mind,
the more you work it out, the more you really strengthen it. That's the goal. That's where the bravery comes from. That's when you start to build the confidence, that courage that you need to believe in yourself. That's all it is. It's about believing yourself.
That's it. Yeah. And nobody out and just gets it on the first go. This isn't the lotto.
Yes.
Everybody practices. Mike Gordon, you go look up anything of his on YouTube. He failed way more than he succeeded. Even Elizabeth Gilbert talks about a little bit more in this book about how many times she was published that like nothing happened. But she didn't stop. Got a no, or because it didn't work out.
But you know why? It's because in the process that you're creating, you're just basically testing yourself, you're practicing, right? So if you're praying for, let's say, a bestseller, or you're praying for a breakthrough, how are you going to get that if you haven't prepared for it? You need to practice to prepare for it. That's what's going to help you become ready for what's next. What's next of your ability to apply your creativity, to apply your talent. So practice so that way you prepare. Practice is preparation, basically. And when you practice and you feel more prepared, that's where your courage is. And one of my favorite things that they said about bravery was you have to be brave, because without it, you'll never be able to score that greatness of your capacities. You'll never know what greatness is and what you're able to do. Your measurements will be completely off. And then not only that, you'll never know the richness of the world by what you're able to contribute. So your life will just keep remaining smaller than what it's capable of being. So you have to test yourself. That pool that you have, that desire, that is your creative instinct. That's big magic. That's how she expresses it. It's big magic. It's that flicker that comes off that inspires you to start doing more.
Hmm. Yes, and it is about taking action.
Action.
Action they love. For those who feel a little paralyzed by fear, if you'll go and read in there, she actually wrote a letter to fear, and I really think it's a great idea to acknowledge it, to give it a space, because it's not going to. It is a biological thing. It's not going to leave you, so you might well get used to it. And how can you cope with it? How can you actually, allow there to be room for this fear without it controlling the car? So if you guys didn't read about that, she basically, just summed it up, was like, hey, you could be along for this road trip, but you can't choose the radio station and you can't drive, basically in that way. Haven't. It's a really, really great idea. And I'd encourage you, if you feel that you are paralyzed by fear, type it up, print this out, whatever. Put it somewhere where you can start to change that subconscious. You can start to change the ideals in your head that fear has this control and this grip over what you're doing, because it doesn't. It's you're allowing it to. And there is a space for you to put it where you can move past it and you can move forward. And it is the most exhilarating thing. I absolutely encourage anyone to try it for sure.
Yes, and it's just acknowledging what it was you love. It's reconnecting with who you are and what really matters to you. Like, what do you feel you need to do every day? Like you wake up and you feel like you're lacking. It ends up on that list of things to do that you need in order to express yourself. Like for me, it's writing. I love to write. When I have periods of time that I'm just completely overwhelmed with life and coaching and working and social media posts, I start to think to myself, why do I feel disconnected? Because my creative outlet, my talent is writing, and it's also my therapy. Your talent is your therapy. So just like Elizabeth Gilbert's friend who was a grown woman who wanted to get back into figure skating, that figure skating was her therapy. So we need that. So kind of tacking into what you said, Erin, big magic. Your big magic is reconnecting with your childish sense of living, this youthful vibrance. And if you lived your life with a youthful vibrance, man, it'd be so much easier to bring your focus back into what matters to you instead of just coasting by.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that brings us kind of to the finale of this first chapter, is why it's worth it. Why
Mhm.
it's worth it, because y'all, this is all we got.
Yes.
Time. You've got one life. I mean, YOLO, what do you want to call it? I mean, what it is, and you have to
YOLO.
face it. You have
Does
life
anyone
is
still,
short.
who uses YOLO? Does anybody watch him use it? That would be fun to know.
I don't think I've ever used it now. So um, it's true. Whatever cliche you want to put around it, um, the thing is that we are not promised another moment. And I had very real moments of this, sitting at rock bottom when my health was like the absolute most dismal that it was. And so I choose now to live each day to the fullest. I acknowledge gratitude. I let it bubble up. Doesn't mean I'm perfect, doesn't mean I'm always happy, but I certainly try to change it. So like when Katie says, when you're feeling tapped out, don't do more work. Get up and take a walk. Go outside, connect in some nature. If you're feeling like, oh, it'd be really cool to pick up a guitar again, well then
Mm-hmm.
do it. Have to schedule it in. Just like your doctor's appointments, your, gym appointments, you taking your kids, blah
It's
blah
a big
blah.
priority.
Stuff for the sake, yes, priorities. It has to be a priority to fill your cup, and you have to find that balance if you want to be the best you that you can be for anybody else. You want to be the best husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, child. This is how you do it. You have to find that balance. And that
Yes.
doesn't mean that it doesn't throw everything out the window. That means be responsible in your priorities, but make yourself one of them. You have.
Yes. And like, so we want to give you like steps, something to take away with this, a great activity that will lead you on into the weekend or the rest of the week that we want you to keep in mind. And it's so simple. You just have to keep this in mind.
Yes. So really what it is, we want you guys to do a little reflection. So on top
Mm-hmm.
of the one to cover for next week, which is called Enchantment, so that's part 2, read through that, but we also want you to start taking some action in the background here. And this is what we do as coaches,
Yeah.
so we're really excited to dive in. We want you to reflect on a few things of your life. Where do you relate to somebody like Susan, who tapped into her ice skating again? Or like I said, that guitar, or do you paint? Or do you want to go ride a bicycle? Do you want to get in shape? Do you want to take care of your body? Whatever it is. What are you afraid of doing because of money or time or just effort or I don't know how? I want you to write a little list of that.
Just make a
2 to
list.
3 things.
Think about it and write the list and reflect on it. What are those things that you disconnected from that you want to do? And then why aren't you doing it? What's holding you back?
Absolutely. Yeah. And if you already are doing those things, but you feel like to get to the next step, you're a little stuck, still make the list. Where do you think you're stuck? Do you think you're stuck over the fear of making other people upset, or that money, or that time, all those little things? Where do you feel you're stuck? And how can we help you get unstuck? So this isn't something you have to publish. This isn't anything that has to go public, but if you want
It's
to
all
share
you.
it with either of us, you are welcome to inbox us or share that with us. But we also have another little announcement for y'all for next week.
So next week, the great thing about this is that we're going to be hosting these book clubs on Zoom instead because it's going to be easier for you guys to interact and to share your perspective. We know you have a viewpoint on the book and we want to hear it. We want to hear your personalities and really understand how you're growing with it because we grew with it and we want to get there on that same level. So we actually are opening up a Facebook group that we're going to send to everyone who has watched this. And you could invite your friends as well. That's the glory of it. Because like I said in the beginning, anyone can jump in at any point and just catch up with the reading. They could even talk about a book that they already read. So if you already read Big Magic, jump in and just share your favorite passages on the posts. Go in and do a live or do a video and really share your insight, share a part of yourself because we want this group to be your playground. This is all about you. It's about you expressing yourself and really putting into action what you're learning. Because our goal here was we took these books that really impacted our lives, that really shifted our mindset and guided us into connecting with our talents, into connecting with ourselves and learning how to connect with others. And now we want to do that with you. So instead of just reading inspirational books, we want you to actually apply them to your life. So we're teaching you them. So what better way than to work with 2 coaches and have a playground to express yourself? So make sure that you look out for that invite. You'll be added to it. And our next meeting is going to be held on Zoom, which all that information is going to be loaded onto the page. So anytime you want to know details or you want to share it with your friends, you can just go straight to that page. You could also add them. And yeah, just have fun. That's the goal, to have fun reading again. Because look at Erin. Erin said that she was saying she was not a reader for a long time. She had stacks of books, but she could not get through them. But it's baby steps. And like I said, audiobooks are the best transition back into reading as an adult because we're so busy. We believe we don't have time and we're stressed out that we feel guilty taking time out to read. But if you do audiobooks, it's much faster to get through a novel or an informational book. And it's nice to have somebody read it to you. But then after that, look, now the floodgates open and Erin can't stop. If you look at her page, it's book after book after book over the past month. But yeah, we're so excited, and we're going to be hosting our next meeting. Every meeting is going to be on Monday at the same time. We'll have that on the page, and yeah, we can't wait to see what you guys have to feel and think out of the next few chapters.
Yay. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And I just want to close us in prayer so much. Thank you, Father, for bringing us together. This has been just a wonderful experience that we get to share. And we really hope that others grow and learn from this and glorify the gifts that you have given them. Please help show them the way, show them a straight path, and let their gifts bubble up, because this life is worth living. And we so appreciate you and your grace that you bestow upon us. In your heavenly name we pray. Amen.
Amen. How nice is that to end with a prayer? You know, because the fact is, I know a lot of us are people who walk in faith, and it's just nice to put that out there and put it in our intention in discovering our talents. Because you know what? We're two coaches, and we do this because we care about other people. We care about helping you tap back into what makes you feel good and do good. And we're developing a ripple effect. You know, we help others so that you could help others. So we need to get you right, so that way you feel good, you feel confident, you feel strong, so that way you can pass that on. How great would that be? And it all starts with two coaches, a book club, and you.
Thanks for watching this episode of Two Coaches in a Book Club.
Don't forget to hit subscribe so you can keep up with all of our latest reads, reviews, and real talk.
And if you like this video, don't be shy. Make sure that you like, share, and comment below and get real chatty, because we know we will.